Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dolynny TV. I'm Tyson Dolynny, ready to get you going for today's Edmonton Oilers versus Vegas Golden Knights game. And of course, this is your game preview. Is 8 o'clock start, another late one, guys. Oh man. I value sleep, and I have not gotten much of that this week. Having to stay up and watch the Oilers. Unfortunately, Tuesday, I was unable to complete the game. Went to bed after about the first 3 minutes of the second period. And of course, that's the one I wanted to stay awake for, given the way it panned out, as opposed to the one I stayed up for in the LA Kings game that did not whatsoever pan out for our Edmonton Oilers. Tonight, it's the Vegas Golden Knights at 8 p.m. on Hockey Night in Canada. And this is, well, by all means, an account, still waking up, I guess, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but by all accounts, this one that isn't as important as tomorrow. Tomorrow, we play the Arizona Coyotes, and of course, the reason I'm wearing this is to alert you, these are your best two teams in the Pacific Division. However, the big concern is, right now, if Vegas wins tonight against us, and then, of course, we lose, obviously, right? Vegas can't win if we don't lose. And nobody goes to overtime. We don't go to overtime, shootout, nothing. There's no extra point factored in. Vegas would then jump up to 28 points in the standings. So that's the problem right there is right now Arizona has 28. Vegas will play their 25th game. We will play our 25th game today. And it's kind of a sketchy go because this is by all means a very, very important 4-point game for the Edmonton Oilers against the Vegas Golden Knights. As just as much as Los Angeles was to a degree. But this one, I almost want to say it is more important because you got to separate the standings at some point, and this is your chance to get it done, right? Today and tomorrow against the Arizona Coyotes are two huge games. Vegas, Arizona, back-to-back in the desert are so huge to separating these standings in the, Western Conference for one, and the Pacific Division especially in that wild card race as well, if you factor in just Western or just Pacific Division teams. So Edmonton at 31, Arizona at 28, Vancouver at 26. Technically speaking, Vegas is tied for third in the Pacific with 26 points. They've played one more game. That is why they are on the outside looking in at this point. So there's your problem, right? You got 31, 28, 26, 26. Right now, well, we know the Calgary Flames, the Vancouver Canucks are in action, so that'll all be settled by the time probably this game preview's over and uploaded to YouTube and you've watched it. So, again, I don't have your results right now, so we'll stay tuned for that a little bit later tonight. But you see what I'm talking about, right? Huge 4-point game, but this one is not the one that is so crucial, I don't think, as compared to tomorrow. And we'll talk a lot more about tomorrow against the Arizona Coyotes, as I can tell you, tomorrow's going to be a big-time difference maker for this Edmonton Oilers team in terms of where they sit going into action, well, next week to end the month, right? So Colorado, Vancouver, two more crucial games, but right now we really need to come up clutch. And right now Arizona plays in about half an hour's time against the LA Kings, and then we play them tomorrow. So back-to-back for both teams. And by the end of the game tomorrow, we could very well know which way this Edmonton Oilers team is trending. This is kind of the, you know what, Los Angeles, you can throw a loss like that out the window, especially considering how we've played for the majority of this season. You can just toss it out the window. Problem is, we've got two tough teams, two 4-point matchups that really will change the standings if they don't go according to plan. So, now where am I going with this? Where am I going? I've kind of ranted about this for 4 minutes and 17 seconds. It's very clear where I'm going with this is the goaltending matchup. I talked about it yesterday in the fact that hold on just a second. There we go. For the Edmonton Oilers, you've got two goalies who have been serviceable. Mikko Koskinen, a starter quality service. Mike Smith trending down towards a backup kind of quality. While that presents a challenge in itself when it comes to lining up for this game today, because you sit here and you think, what the heck are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and start Mikko Koskinen and ride him back to back and hope he does well? Are we going to play Mike Smith against Arizona or Vegas? What are we going to do here? And what the Edmonton Oilers have done, is, well, decided to go with Mike Smith. They've decided to go Mike Smith tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights, and that will mean Mikko Koskinen starts tomorrow against Arizona. And now let's get back to kind of my point on this is the lesser of the two importance, right? Because this one doesn't change things drastically, because even if Arizona wins tonight, or this afternoon, whatever you want to classify it as, against the LA Kings, that only puts them at 30 points. We hold on to the division lead for another day. That means Vegas, though, will be tied up there in third spot, and it'll be 31, 30, 28 in that world of possibility. Now, if the Oilers can win tonight, the Arizona Coyotes lose to the LA Kings, then all of a sudden that sets us up to separate things even more if we can get back-to-back wins, right? If we can go to 35 points and keep the Arizona Coyotes at 28 points by the end of day tomorrow, suddenly, guys, we're sitting in the Pacific Division with, hopefully, potentially, a 7-point lead, or at bare minimum, a 5-point lead. How insane, how excellent would that be for our Edmonton Oilers? Now, that asks us to win 2 games, but that starts tonight with Mike Smith. Now, let's go back to the logic I had from the Edmonton Oilers video yesterday, in which I was talking about Mr. Mike Smith, Mikko Koskinen. They each start 2 games roughly this season, and of the past 3 or 4 rotations, it's been bad game, good game. Well, guess what? Mike Smith had a bad game against the Los Angeles Kings. I'm not going to fully blame it on him because, guys, there was several glaring, reaching, lack of effort, bad plays by the Edmonton Oilers all over the ice, contributing to those goals, especially on that second LA Kings goal where Caleb Jones, guys, we need to get Matt Benning healthy. We need to get Caleb Jones back in the AHL and get him working on his poise and his positioning, because that watch the replay, that was just brutal. A kid chasing men out there, and that's not what you want to see out of our top end defensive prospects. That said, I'm not saying Caleb Jones is terrible. Guys, that's my boy, and I want to see him succeed. That's why I want him back in the AHL, work on it quick. But that is exactly the thing, right? How terrible was Mike Smith, technically speaking, when you start accounting for some of the terrible things that the Oilers were doing up front in front of them last game against the LA Kings? So hopefully tonight the Oilers clean that up, get it going. I'm not sure what the lines are. We kind of have the feeling lines from Jack Michaels the other day, but I'm not sure. There's no D pairings on there, right? There's nothing really to it, so we'll kind of wait till game time and see when those Oilers lines roll out, and I'll let you know my opinions on that as she goes along. But for this Edmonton Oilers team, I think it's very clear. This is a must-win weekend. If you win both games, get a good start out of Mikko Koskinen tomorrow, get a great start out of Mike Smith tonight, we are in pretty entering the last week of the month. And you got to keep in mind, too, that would be 35 points, which is technically 17.5 points, which is technically 2 points more per month than we need to make the playoffs. That would be a pace of, 6 times 2. 12 extra points, so 106 points on the season if we keep that curve for the playoffs going. Right now, guys, the probability for the playoffs is looking very good. I think on hockey-reference.com, hockey reference, you know I always refer to it, we're sitting at about an 83%. You want to see that jump up to about an 87, 88, I'm sure. Well, let's go win 2 games in a row against 2 division rivals, against a tough backs to the wall schedule in this weekend, given that we have to go back to back against them too, and see what happens. See what happens if we win both games in regulation. I really don't know what's going on with my camera here. But that said, guys, very simple formula. Mike Smith, bad game last game, get a good game tonight. Mikko Koskinen, buck the trend, be that starter he can be, and get that victory out of the way for him tomorrow against the Arizona Coyotes. There is no ifs, there is no ands, there are no buts. We got to go out there and win tonight. That is all I got to say. Realistically, if you've listened for the past 10 minutes and you're waiting for me to get to what I need to say, we got to win. That's all it is. We got to win. We got to keep that division lead as long as humanly possible, because the longer we do that, the closer we get to playoffs, the better off we are if anything terrible happens. Guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. What do you think? Is it a must-win game? Is it a 4-point major game? Is it a major 8-point weekend almost? I don't even think that's a term, but technically speaking, for this Edmonton Oilers, it needs to be. Guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I will catch you, as always, in the next one.